Hello and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very warm welcome to the March 24 SBL Pre-seen. And this is the part 2 today, where we are exploring information about Athletic Trans Central Football Club. On the day 1 yesterday, I was exploring information about the Kyland football sector, though we had some sort of information about Athletics Central Football Club, which is referred as AT. So rather than using that long terminology, we are using the shorter terminology in the debrief and in the exam paper when you're writing the answer, that is AT. Let's explore information about AT. Okay, I hope you can all see the Word file on your screen now, as we were looking at yesterday. Okay, great. Now, this is the second part of the Word file. You can see it right on top here. This is the part 2 of the debrief, and this is a summary of the information about AT. So AT is the club, and that's what we're referring them to, from page number 8 to page number 12 of the pre-seen. So I made a summary on 3 pages, and we need to explore what we need to focus on. But again, please remember, pre-seen is not the answer. The answer will come from the exhibits and from the information that is given to you on the day of exam. Pre-seen is just there for the purpose of context. You can just learn the terminologies. You can just make some ideas, but you cannot just rote learn pre-seen, or you cannot just think about the questions or the potential questions that can come in. It will absolutely be wrong. I hope you got that perspective yesterday from day 1. Okay, where needed, we'll connect to day 1. Okay, let's start first with the first information. So the very first thing the examining team is telling us about AT is their history. And they are telling us that it was founded in 1895. So it's very old club. Its men first team has played in KFL, the league, since 1907. So they have a very rich history and very old club. The family is controlling the stakes, and the name of the family is Clycombe family, and they're controlling interest in Athletic Trans Central Club for many years. Just like we discussed Manchester United yesterday, that they used to have a family-owned club, but later it was sold to Glazer as part of the takeover. So currently they are family owned, and they're not listed on the stock exchange, the Kyline Stock Exchange. I have my first thought process. Yesterday we ended the thought process at number 13. So I'm starting my number 14 thought process. Proposal to list. There could be an exhibit-specific information on the day of exam, giving you a proposal to list, and you are asked to evaluate the proposal, that what sort of benefits AT could get if they get themselves listed on the stock exchange. So currently, they are not listed. Then the second thing the examining team is telling us is about the teams, the club, the AT. And they're telling us about some strengths and some weaknesses of the current team. Firstly, on the left side, we're looking at the strengths. Men first team has been in the top division of KFL for the last 60 years. So they've never been relegated to Division 2 and Division 3. For the last 60 years, they are in Division 1 and have won Division 1 6 times. And the domestic cup competition 5 times in the last 60 years. So that's quite good. If you look at their record of the last 60 years, 6 times they have been the champion for Division 1, and 5 times they've won the domestic cup competition. Number 2, build strong base of support due to success record of 60 years. So they have a good success records of 60 years. A lot of fans follow them. Lots of fans love them as AT, and they have a strong base of supporters. Number 3 good thing is that women first team was established just 25 years ago and now plays in Division 1. That's perfect. So the men team is in Division 1. The women team is in Division 1 of the KWFL, which is the Women Football League. It finished 3rd in the division, and that's their highest ever position. So in terms of ranking, they're enjoying a better ranking. Number 3, we know currently the men team is at number 8 in 20x2 and 20x3. So these are some of the strengths of the team. On the weakness side, the team has not won. The team has not won the Division 1 title or the domestic cup for the last 15 years. So in the last 15 years, they have not won the domestic 1 title and Division 1 title or the domestic cup, and has not qualified for the Wokian International League for the last 8 years. Now that is where I get my thought process 15. Struggling. Is AT recently struggling? Yes or no? In the last 15 years, is this club struggling to get a good position? They have not won the Division 1 title for the last 15 years. They have not also won the domestic cup for the last 15 years, and they have not qualified for the Wokian League for the last 8 years. Is this something for the management to sit down and consider? Where are we lacking? Why the players and why the team managers are not giving us the desired results? What are the underlying issues which is creating our recent failures? So can a question be asked here if I put my TP15 here in my next box, and I just explain T50 a bit of this here. Evaluate the underlying issues which are creating obstacles for team success in recent years, something like that. There could be a case-specific exhibit about that, and you need to explore that. But this is my thought process 15, that what are underlying issues or what are underlying reasons why AT is failing to perform in the last 15 years. Even though they're still in Division 1, but their ranks are going down. They've almost reached the 8th rank now by the end of 20x2 and 20x3, and not qualified for the Wokian International League for the last 8 years. That means that they're losing the international exposure and the international brand image as a club. So this is what the examining team is telling us about the team strengths and the team weaknesses. The weakness is important, and there could be some potential development in the real exam. So please remember this. It can help you provide a context on the day of exam. Then examining team is telling us about the board structure. They tell us that the CEO is the only one from the family. CEO is from the Clycombe family. So that's the only representation of the family on the board, only family representation. My concern is I have a TP16 here, and my TP16 says I need to recruit a new CEO from outside. Considering the team recent failure, we need to bring some management changes. Could be. There could be a specific exhibit where there is a proposal to change the management, and there is a pressure on CEO to step down. They want to bring a new CEO. They want to change the team management. They want to ensure that for the next 3 years, they come in top 3 of the Division 1 and they qualify for the Wokian International League. So currently, the CEO is from the family. That's the only family representation in the board. There could be a potential case around a need to recruit a CEO from outside family. I hope you've seen a question in the past papers, which even I have done in my course, that is to evaluate candidate A and candidate B for the position of the role of a CEO. Have you seen that question? Where we had 2 candidates, A and B. I think that was a rail company question. And we need to evaluate which is an ideal candidate for the position of CEO, something like that. So if AT is searching for a CEO from outside the family. Okay, next, each function is responsible for recruiting and appraising its own staff. So each function, I hope you remember, there are lots of functions given in the pre-seen, if I can show them on screen. They have given us functions like Football director is one function, finance is one function, marketing and IT is one function, commercial is one function, administration is one function. So they have different functions, and every function has a director, and every function is responsible for appraising its own function and recruiting staff for its own function. The only concern point I have here is marketing and IT director is one person. This could be another thinking point, that the marketing and IT director should be split apart so you get a better focus on the marketing side and you get a better focus on the IT side. So rather than having one person as your marketing and IT director, you should have a director looking at the technological side, and you should have a director looking at the marketing side, right? So marketing and IT director is another point which you can write on the summary. Let me write it down for you on the summary. Marketing and IT director is the same person, right? Director is the same person. And I have a thinking point here in red. Uh, need to have a split in role for better focus. So you need to split the role of an IT director with that of a marketing director so that you get a clear focus on the marketing side and you get a clear focus on the technological side. Okay, is the voice clear now? Okay, so did you heard my point about the marketing and IT director being the same person? Okay, so I was just showing you this screen. I hope you got that screen again. And I was showing from here that the marketing and IT director is one person, right? So should they split the marketing and IT director so they can have a better focus on the marketing side and the IT side? Are you all clear with that? So is marketing a very important function for any organization, including this club? And is IT a very important function? So should you have two directors for the respective positions rather than having one? So that is my current concern point, right? So let's just go back to my Word file now, if you can hear me clearly. And that's what I wrote here. Marketing and IT director is the same person, need to have a split in the role for a better focus. So that's my thinking thought process number 17. I was just discussing the point that each function is responsible for recruiting and appraising its own staff, with, for example, the first team players being appraised by the team manager. I have a bit of concern on the appraisal process. If every function is responsible to appraise themselves, is that a good appraisal? Normally, when I appraise my own department, I would be biased. I would have a self-review sort of a problem. I would have a familiarity sort of a problem. So do you believe there should be some sort of independence in the appraisal process, which is currently lacking in this point? Look at this point. Do you believe the appraisal process is lacking independence? And do you believe independence is a very important criteria of appraisal? Is independence a very important criteria of appraisal? Otherwise, you have a self-appraisal problem, right? So this is my thinking point around appraisal process. A need for independence around this point. Need for independence. Need for independence. So that's my concern point here. Okay. Then the last thing, only have audit committee with two NEDs. So they only have just an audit committee. They don't have the nomination committee. And that's the reason that each function is responsible for recruiting their own staff. So even if they get a nomination committee, that would be better for the potential succession planning. Currently, they only have an audit committee. They don't have any other committee in place. If they plan to get listing in near future, they probably needs to broaden their corporate governance, and they probably need to enlarge their scope of corporate governance. So that is my thought process number 18, that need for other committees in context when they're considering to apply for listing, if any, in the exam paper. So that is the board structure, right? I hope you're very fine and sound with the board structure. Okay, then we have something about the information system of the AT. Let's see what we have about the information system. Information system hold data about the ticket holder and customers, and it's up to date. My concern is they have a good up-to-date system which hold information about ticket holders and customers. Applying big data to evaluate the data you have in the information system. So can there be some sort of an application of a big data? You know, big data is a very favorite topic of your examining team, asking you about advantages and disadvantages, or applying the big data, or how AT can use big data to analyze the information they have about the ticket holders and customers in terms of the future growth. So that's my thinking point 19. Has own website and app. Further improving website in line with competitor practices. Is AT website in line with competitors, or ensuring a better e-commerce facility or facilities for ticket holders? You can give better facilities on your website. I think I remember one point I was reading through today in terms of their commercial activities. And in commercial activity, it was referred that official replica kit is only the product which is ordered online. So in terms of online ordering, I cannot order any other merchandise other than the official replica kit. So can I upgrade my website and offer more merchandises as a source of income? Because currently your website is only offering the official replica kit, which you can buy online. If I want to buy anything else online, I can't. So can they improve their catalog on the website? Can they improve their e-commerce on the website? Right? So is there a potential improvement of website which can take place over the next few years? So that's my concern, right? So currently only selling the official replica kit, currently selling the only official replica kit online. So they're not selling anything else online. So they need to change the website to bring more features to their website so that the customers can visit their website, can buy things about AT, can engage with AT, and they get to know more about AT. And at least the website should be in par with competitor practices. Do they need a separate IT director? Because they have an information system, they have website, they have apps. So if they have a proper IT director in place, it could properly apply the big data, or it can properly think about upgrading the website. So I think a need of an IT director with line with the information system sounds very potential. Okay, then the bulk of the information which is given about AT is about the stadium. Now listen to the stadium very carefully. There is so much information the examining team has given to us about stadium that gives me a thinking point that there could be a specific exhibit where we are asked about a proposal to evaluate a construction of a new stadium. And I have some facts about it, which I would like to share with you. I even discussed with you yesterday that the current stadium which AT have is 90 years old. And I just read today on website before coming into this session that mostly the average age of a football stadium which a club have is like 30 to 50 years. That is what I got from Google. But I'm not discussing that information. My concern is 90 years is quite an old stadium. I hope you will all agree with me. And that creates some sort of a potential about a proposal to make a new stadium. Number one. Number 2 point. 3 other Division 1 teams are located within 40-kilometer radius of the AT stadium. You're also a Division 1 team, right? AT. But 3 other Division 1 teams are located within a 40-kilometer radius of the AT stadium. Now, obviously, these 3 other teams, will they have their own stadiums? Do every team has their own stadium? Is that reality? Do every team has a stadium? Yes. So, in the radius of 40 kilometers, how many more stadiums we have? 3 other Division 1 teams are located within a radius of 40 kilometers. So we have another 3 stadiums within that 40-kilometer radius. So should AT evaluate the stadium capacity of these 3 other teams? Should they evaluate what sort of facilities are other stadiums offering which we are not offering? So can they benchmark these 3 stadiums? Can they take these 3 stadiums as benchmarking? So how to improve upon their own stadium? Are you getting that point? See what I've written in the red. Need to evaluate competitor well. So I think they can take these 3 stadiums as benchmarking. They can see how we can improve on our stadium, because these 3 stadiums are in very close vicinity. And I will definitely use them as my benchmark competitors. I hope you're getting that point. Next point. Average attendance was 96.5% in the season 20x2 and 20x3. The industry average for a full capacity is 96.5. So that's very good, right? So the industry average, what is considered as a full, is 96.5 is considered as full. So you attained that 96.5 in season X2 and X3. But my concern is your stadium capacity is roughly like 38,000, what we got yesterday. So is there a chance that lots of ticket holders are not getting to lots of audience who wants to get to the stadium are not getting to the stadium because you have a very small stadium and they need to watch the matches then on the TV? So if you enlarge your stadium, if you make a big stadium of 70 to 80,000 capacity, will that increase your income arising from the ticket sales? So when you enlarge your stadium, you enlarge the capacity of your stadium. Is that something of a prospect for you in increasing your income, not just from the ticket sales, but you can hold other events. You can hold other events in your stadium for that purpose. The stadium has limited car parking facility. That is another issue. There is a traffic congestion. That is another issue. In the local area on the match day, and the streets near the stadium become very crowded and noisy. So a lot of traffic congestion, parking issues, noisy and crowded street when the match is taking place. And that really annoys the local residents. The local residents are not happy with all this. My concern is local community versus interest and demands. Is local community your stakeholder? Yes or no? And is local community happy? Is the local community happy? No. Are they happy with that noise and rush and traffic? No. So can there be some sort of demands from them in the real case you get on the day of exam? So can you need to evaluate the local community as a potential stakeholder? So be prepared for that, right? So we have a lot of issues with the stadium. Quite an old stadium. We have 3 other stadiums within the 40-kilometer radius. You have limited parking facilities. That is a big concern. The stadium is served by 2 train stations and a bus station. So that's very good. At least it's ease of people coming to the stadium. So train stations and bus stations. So that seems good. Maintenance expenditure on the stadium has increased significantly over the last 10 years due to its age and increasingly strict health and safety requirements. What if the stadium fall? 90 years old stadium, it collapse. it has some damage. Your maintenance expenditure has increased significantly over the last 10 years because of the age of the stadium and increasingly strict health and safety regulations. What if you get a proposal in the exam paper to evaluate a proposal to build a new stadium? Will a new stadium reduce your operating expenditures, your maintenance expenditure? Because currently this stadium is putting a lot of pressure on your maintenance expenditure and on your operating profit margins. Is that correct? So will you be able to reduce your pressure on maintenance expenditure if you have a new stadium? And are there risk with the age stadium? Can there be some deterioration in the building? Can it increase the health and safety risk for the spectators sitting in the stadium? Can you get a bad repute if some sort of a stadium collapse happen? It's quite an old stadium, right? So we need to be worried about it. Okay, next. The stadium has refreshment outlets for which there are sometimes long queues. So long queues is not something which goes in favor. The spectators would not be happy with this long queues at the refreshment centers. There are also 30 hospitality boxes. The facilities at the stadium are currently not sufficient. So the facilities at the stadium are not currently sufficient. I think we have a lot of good points to think about developing a new stadium. Not sufficient for AT to consider hosting other sporting events or concerts here. Can you host other events in your stadium? Can you host concerts in your stadium? No. So are you losing the potential income? Are you losing your potential income? You are. AT has a small shop at the stadium, not big shop, a small shop. And AT owns the land on which the stadium is built and the land which is adjacent to the stadium. The adjacent land is leased to the Frenia City Council. So can we expand the stadium by taking on the land adjacent to the stadium, considering the lease of the land gets to, there is a limit. I think there is a time zone for lease, right? So is there ease of expanding because we have the land adjacent to it? Considering some leasing implications with Frenia City Council? So is there a solid business case to develop a new stadium, considering the amount of problems we are going through with the existing stadium? Do you all agree? Look at what I've wrote here. Just look at this. My thought process 20. I'm just reading it and I'll give you time to reread it. My thought process 20. Need to build new stadium considering the top 3 teams for Division 1 have all made new stadiums in the last 8 years. We read that yesterday. Top 3 teams for Division 1 have all made new stadiums in the last 8 years. And the existing stadium lack facilities, parking issues, long queues, and high maintenance costs due to aging. So do we have some solid ground in favor of building a new stadium? Tell me. Yes, definitely. High carbon footprint also. So do you all agree that stadium is a big chunk of information here? Yes, Zishan, that is what I was telling, right? That we need to see what sort of an agreement we have with the city council about the lease and how much time is left for the lease to end, because that would help us take a decision by when we can construct the stadium, right? So that can be the obstacle, right? Do we, though we have a land adjacent, to the stadium, but that is under a lease with the council, right? So is everyone clear about the information about stadium and the problems we have with the existing stadiums? And can that lead us to some specific exhibit related information on the day of exam where we need to evaluate a proposal to construct a new stadium? The financial appraisal, the non-financial appraisal, where will the money come from to construct the new stadium, right? So please ensure you get through my notes on the stadium and some lot of troubles we have around our existing stadium. I hope once you get the document, you will take a printout and you will just go over the number of points we read through here. I can number them for your ease. I think numbering would be better. So there are almost 9 points we read around stadium. Okay, now moving on towards the next thing. Yes, I even recommended the article, right? Strategic options yesterday in my top 11 articles, Misbah. So I hope some of the articles were carefully chosen because I read the full pre-seen before recommending you some of the articles to read through. So please consider the articles I recommended yesterday are of importance. Okay, then we have some information about training facility. And I just want to make a clarification about something we discussed yesterday. I thought that the training facility is like an academy. Later, I got some views of student on the WhatsApp group. Then I did another research and I came to a conclusion that yes, AT currently does not have an academy. Academy and training facilities are two different things. So AT needs to develop an academy. Currently, they don't have an academy. I hope you're all clear on that. I'd even put a clarification for that on the groups today. So AT currently does not have an academy, right? The training facilities they have were upgraded 5 years ago and as a result are regarded as some of the best in K-Land. So their training facilities are one of the best in K-Land. So that is excellent. The first and the reserve teams always train at these facilities. So the first include both the men and the women, right? So the first men and women and the reserve team always train at these facilities, but the under 18 team sometimes have to use other facility nearby, which AT hires. Can you reduce your hiring cost you are paying by bringing the under 18 team to the same training facility? Why are you paying the hiring fees? Is that not an additional expenditure when you have your own training facility, everyone? Is that not an additional expenditure when you have your own training facility? So should you think about bringing the under 18 team to the same training center, same training facility where you are training the first and the reserve teams? Are you all getting my point? So AT hires. So is hiring an additional expenditure? Should you seriously think about controlling your expenditures as AT? And should you think about establishing your own academy where you can have young players from the grassroots level from the age of 9 and you can then build them up to very good players for your future of AT, for the sustainability of AT as a club? Okay, the next we have about commercial activities. Some very important information being given to us for commercial activities. Sponsors. AT has number of commercial sponsors with no sponsor being regarded as a lead sponsor. I have another thinking point here, 22. Just let me confirm my numbers. I think this is 21. I have 20. Okay, fine. This is 20. This is 21. This is 22. We have any lead sponsor? Do we have any lead sponsor? Can we make someone our lead sponsor? Will that open some opportunities to get income? I hope you all know who is a lead sponsor, the main sponsor. And can we make someone a main sponsor for AT? Will that bring a lot of income? Can we sign a deal for 5 years? Can we do a strategic alliance with any lead sponsor? Growing in partnership. We have an article very potential for March 24 exams, and a lead sponsor. Can we have some sort of an alliance with a lead sponsor? Can we have a 5-year strategic alliance with a lead sponsor? Are you getting this point? So currently they don't have a lead sponsor. Think about it. Next, the sponsorship agreement covers the kit, advertising within the stadium, and the use of AT brand and player identity. So you are advertising on the kits, stadium, and the use of AT brand and player identities. AT has not sold any naming rights to the stadium or other facilities. Is that another potential area which you are not exploring? Can we enter into a strategic alliance with any sponsor for the naming rights? Growing in partnership is very, very important under the heading of sponsor in this pre-seen. Think about the article growing in sponsorship. We have no lead sponsor. AT has not sold any naming rights to the stadiums or other facilities. Can we sell the naming rights to a big sponsor? Will that bring a lot of money? A lot of clubs have it, right? Just let me show you that information. I gathered today. Can you see something on your screen now? Stadiums who have collaborated with lead sponsors to name the stadiums. Can you see this on your screen currently? See this stadium, Alliance Stadium, right? Alliance is a sponsor. So the stadium name is Alliance Stadium. Something you can better refer as all. You can look at this. They have a stadium name, Red Bull Arena. Now, you know, Red Bull is a sponsor for lots of sporting events globally, and they have a Red Bull Arena. So can AT give some rights to a lead sponsor to name a stadium and earn from it on a strategic alliance for 5 years, 10 years? Can they do it? So currently, there are two problems here. Number one problem is no lead sponsor. So they have no lead sponsor. And this is an area which they should explore about for income, and not sold any naming rights to stadium, which is another unexplored area where they can boost their income. This is my thought process 22. And that is where the need of the article, growing in partnership, the new one becomes important, like something like a strategic alliance with a lead sponsor, on naming rights, giving naming rights. Yes, that is perfectly fine, Misbah. Okay, that's very good thought process, Reena. Oh, yes, we have Emirates for Arsenal. Never realized. Oh, that's great. T. So, do you believe AT has not given any naming rights? By giving naming rights, can they enter into a strategic alliance? Can this open some potential source of income for them, all of you? So, under the heading of sponsors, do we have some problems? Are we not exploring sources of income properly under sponsors? So, can we boost our income by giving a lead sponsor? Can we boost our income by selling the naming rights? All of you? So is there an importance to realize the article growing in partnership under the heading of sponsors, right? Please do remember that. This is very, very important. Okay, then replica kits under their commercial activities. AT sells official replica kits directly to supporters. We know the replica kits are also sold on websites. That's the only thing they're selling on website. We just got to know that. The official replica kits are trademarked by AT, and AT guarantee products quality. 3 suppliers supply AT directly with both kits for the player and the official replica kit, which AT sells to the supporter. So how many suppliers you have for the official player kits? 3. So 3 is not a bad number, right? Which we should criticize. So they have 3 suppliers who supply the official kit and the replica kit, though they have broadened their suppliers for replica kit. You can see this point here. AT also licensed the production of official replica kit to other suppliers. I think license was another option in growing in partnership article. So in growing in partnership, there was an option to license it. So they've already entered into licensing agreement with other suppliers to enhance visibility in markets worldwide. These products are sold in other retailers' outlet. So do you have more than 3 suppliers for the official replica kit, or do you just have 3 suppliers for official replica kits? For official replica kits, do we have 3 or more than 3 suppliers? More than 3. Umair, read the bullet number 2 and 3 together. Read the bullet number 2 and 3 together. More than 3. And for the official kit, how many suppliers we have? For the official kit, how many suppliers we have? 3. Look at the good point. Something which goes in favor of AT. AT expects suppliers to treat their employees fairly and provide good working condition. Is that a good point? Does that demonstrate the good ethical stance of AT as a club, that they want the supplier to treat the employees fairly? So they don't want their supplier to manufacture their official kits and official replica kits by using child labor or bad working conditions. They want to ensure that wherever their official kits are being manufactured, they have very good working condition in place. So is AT concerned about the good ethical stance? Right? So are they indulging any sort of child labor activities? No, they're very good. So replica kits is another commercial activity, and that's what you need to remember. Club shops and online selling. The club shops at the stadium sells the official replica kits and limited range of other clothing and accessories. Shop can consider offering more merchandise to boost income. This is my thought process number 20, just concerned with thought process points by 22, 23. Okay, this is my thought process point number 24. Can we offer more merchandises on the shops to boost income? Like magnets, like mugs with your logos of AT, magnets, keychains, water bottles, anything which can increase the interest of your spectators. Souvenirs, exactly. Official replica kit is the only product which is offered online. So can we enhance our website to offer more accessories, more merchandises online, which has AT logo and AT souvenirs? So we discussed that point of website development, and we discussed the point that we need to have a different marketing director and different IT director. So he can focus on the website upgradation. He can focus on selling more merchandises on the website, because currently they're selling less merchandises on the website. So this is about their commercial activities. Club shops, online selling, their official replica kits, and about their sponsors. Sponsors was a very important point for me, and I do foresee some exhibit-specific information about sponsor, growing in partnership, a strategic alliance with the lead sponsor, or a strategic alliance for naming rights of the stadium could be potential for the upcoming exams. So I believe sponsors are more important to me in this information under commercial activities. Okay, then we go down towards the website extracts, some important website extracts we have. The mission is given. AT mission is to maintain its position as one of the leading clubs in Thailand, though they are struggling recently. So this is their mission, right? To be the leading club in Thailand. And we know missions are always infinite, and missions are always have a sense of motivation. Sufyan, you just need to read through the article, read through the advantages and disadvantages of different areas written under the article. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so their mission is to be the leading club in Thailand, right? They have 6 values published on website. Now, what I've done with the 6 values is I have put the definition of every value, so you remember what that value means. And then I've mentioned the pre-seen. That is there anything in the pre-seen about the value? So I hope you can see the 3 columns, right? Value, meaning, and something given in the pre-seen. Transparency. Present an open and a balanced picture of its situation and be honest about challenges which it faces. So transparency means to be honest. You need to tell your stakeholders openly and transparently anything which is going on in AT. You're not hiding, you're not concealing any information from anyone. Nothing is given about that. Nothing is given about any sort of uh, holding of information in the current case study, but there could be a case specific information where they're holding some information from the stakeholder and you need to relate that with transparency. Safeguarding. Safeguarding means protecting welfare of its young players. Currently, we don't have an academy. They can build up an academy for protecting welfare of its young players, especially from the age of 9. Uh, do train them at another facility, can think about bringing them to their world-class training center. Currently, they're training their under 18 team at another facility. Can they think about bringing their under 18 at the same training facility where they are training their men first, women first, and reserve teams? So in that way, can they give a better safeguarding to the young players? Do you agree with this point? Did we read this point today? So can they think about bringing them to the world-class training facility? Currently, they need to hire a space for them and they go to that particular place for training. Community, committed to make a positive impact on community. Pre-seen, there is a traffic congestion in the local areas on the match day and the streets near the stadium become very crowded and noisy. And this makes the local resident annoyed. So are you meeting your value by making the local community annoyed on the day of match? Committed to making a positive impact on community. I hope you're not making it in this context. I hope you all agree with me. Then they have a player conduct. Players to demonstrate highest standard of sportsmanship and commitment. Nothing is given in the pre-seen about that. It could be a case-specific exhibit on the day of exam. Stakeholders. Treat principal stakeholders with fairness and honesty and keenly evaluate AT impacts on them. So engaging with stakeholders, looking after stakeholders' concerns. A lot of stakeholders were given on the debrief day 1. We had a list of stakeholders which we developed in the summary for day 1. I hope you remember them. A number of stakeholders are given in the case which we discussed yesterday. AT expects suppliers to treat their employees fairly and provide good working conditions. Is that something going in favor of AT currently? They want their supplier to treat their employees fairly and provide them a good working condition. So are they discouraging child labor? Are they discouraging use of child labor at the facilities of suppliers and treating their employees fairly? So do we have something about stakeholders given in the case study? Okay, lastly, environment. Reduction of environmental footprint is central part of the strategy development and operational planning. So reduction of environmental footprint, which is coming from your stadium, is part of your strategy development. So when you develop a strategy for future, or you think about developing a new stadium for future, reduction in environmental footprint is part of your strategy development and your operational day-to-day planning. There could be a case-specific exhibit about environmental footprint, about how the existing stadium is enlarging the environmental footprint, and building a new stadium can reduce the environmental footprint. I'll share some information about what is an environmental footprint of a stadium. I've gathered some information over the Google, which I will be sharing with you in the next 5 minutes. But environment is about reduction of your footprint as part of your development strategy for future and as part of your operational strategy. Currently, they have an old stadium. So old stadium could have a very big footprint. They need to reduce it down. Age stadium versus the new one. Thinking point 27. Which stadium will have the less footprint, the new one or the aged one? Even if you know something about footprint, before I give you the answer. The new one, okay? The new one will have less footprint. Okay, let's evaluate that. Okay, I'll just come to the financial information, the last part of this case study. Before that, I just need to discuss a thought process on stadium. Can you just read this all within 5 minutes? Can you just read all of this? This is about the footprint. This is about what sort of a footprint a stadium creates and how a new stadium can reduce the footprint. I'm giving you 5 minutes, read it, and once you have read it, say, I have read it. I'm just waiting for your answers. Your time starts now. Okay, great. So majority of you have read. Did you got a perspective how a footprint is created from a stadium? Will this information help you on the day of exam if you need to analyze some sort of a footprint analysis of a stadium? You have a 90 years old stadium. Are you using renewable energy as a 90-year-old stadium? Probably no. Are you using the new techniques to reduce environmental emissions because your stadium is 90 years old? If we construct a new stadium, can it be more environmental friendly? Can we bring the more environmental friendly techniques in construction? Can we make our stadium more environmental friendly in different areas? Can we think about water reductions? Can we think about using renewable energy, solar energy, or any sort of energy which could be clean and green? Can we think about the recycling of the waste which generates from every match? Can we have our recycling unit? So is there a footprint of a stadium? And should AT be concerned about it? Because environment is a value given on their website. So building a new stadium, will that lead to a reduction of footprint? Do we have another business case for developing a new stadium if asked for in the exam paper? So is this paragraph understandable? Are you getting some ideas about the footprints of the football stadiums globally? Are you sound and clear, all of you? Good. Okay, now the last thing before I just do another discussion with you, just first let me wrap this up. The last thing we have been given in the pre-seen is the financial information from where I got some very important information to discuss with you. Number one, it is mentioned in the financial information that AT is only publishing annual report. So is AT publishing an integrated report? No, they're only publishing annual report. How favorite integrated report is as a topic for your SBL examiner? How many times you've seen integrated reporting in the past paper? Most important, right? So can a question be asked in line with the specific exhibit on the day of exam, develop the need for introducing integrated reporting or benefits of integrated reporting to AT, or the capitals on which AT should report? There are a lot of capitals in the values we have just discussed, right? there was social and relationship capital, there was environment as a capital. So a lot of capitals were hidden inside the values. So they're only publishing annual report case for integrated reporting to better address concerns of the principal stakeholders in line with the value mentioned for stakeholders. This is my thought process number 28. Next, total revenue is showing a rising trend over the 3-year period, showing an increase of 3% from 20x1 to 20x2 and 2% from 20x2 to 20x3. And revenue is an industry KPI. I hope you remember the KPIs yesterday. Revenue is one of a financial KPI. Is revenue showing a trend of rising? Do you all agree? It has risen by 3% from X1 to X2. I used my calculator for that. And 2% from X2 to X3. You can find the same percentages. Number 2, the top 3 sources of revenue are television, match day, the income you get on the match day, primarily the ticket sales, and sponsorship. But can we boost more from sponsorship? Can we boost more from the lead sponsor? Can we boost more from giving naming rights to the stadium? So can we earn more from the sponsorship area? Can we earn more from the ticket sales if we expand the stadium capacity, if we build the new one? So currently revenue is rising. And the top 3 sources from where the revenue is coming from is television, because they are the Division 1 team. And the Division 1 team's matches are broadcast live on TV. Match day, that is the ticket sales and sponsorship. Number 2, they're earning before tax, depreciation and amortization, which is the EBITDA, which is another financial KPI we read yesterday, is going down over a 3-year period from $60 million in X1 to $30 million in X3. That is a 50% dip over the last 3 years. It was 60 million in X1. It's 30 million in X3. So almost it has gone down by 50% over the last 3 years. This was mentioned in the industry challenges yesterday, that there is an increasing cost, primarily due to increasing cost connected with players. Did we read that yesterday in the industry challenge? That there is an industry challenge that your EBITDA is going down. And it is not going down just for AT, it's going down for lots of clubs. And the primary reason for that going down is the higher cost associated with player salaries and the transfer fees, and even the amortization of the transfer fees. And we have another problem. Do we have a higher repair and maintenance expenditure as AT because of a 90-year-old stadium? Do we have a 90-year-old stadium which increases the repair and maintenance expenditure? Was that mentioned today in my pre-seen? So is that another thing which is pressurizing your EBITDA? It is. But generally, the EBITDA is going down for many clubs. True or false? Is it just going down for AT or many other clubs? Many. And what is the reason for many? The cost associated with players, which is one of the biggest cost. So just please keep that in mind. Lastly, relevant earning. How important was relevant earning for FFPR yesterday? How important this was as a regulation from the KFA, which was the regulator, KFA. I hope you remember KFA as a regulator. So I hope you know that the relevant expenses should not exceed the relevant income by $5 million over a 3-year period. So relevant earnings formula, the relevant income minus relevant expenses, shows a declining trend for each of the 3 years. We know it's calculated on a 3-year basis. It's going down. Let me show you that on the screen here. I hope you can see back the pre-seen, real pre-seen on the screen. If I can just make this enlarged for you. Okay, can you see on your screen now the relevant earning for FFPR? And for each of the 3 years, it's calculated on a 3-year basis just to see are you meeting or not meeting that $5 million criteria. So for 3 years to 20x1, it's roughly $60 million. So that means your income is more than expenses. Then for the 3-year periods to 20x2, it's almost $40 million. It's going down. Then for a 3-year period to 20x3, it has almost come down to 20. Though we are still in surplus, our income is more than expenses. But look at the decline. Look at the decline. Can this decline becomes worsening in 20x4 and 20x5 if we don't take measures? Can we breach the FFPR limit of $5 million, negative $5 million in the next 2 to 3 years if we don't address the problem currently? Look at how it is going down. It's going down very drastically. Another 2 years, you might be having that. You might be breaching that $5 million mark. So should we be concerned about it? Should we find ways to increase our relevant income? Should we find opportunities where relevant income can be increased for ensuring that the relevant income for FFPR starts to build up? Because that's very, very important, monitored by the authorities, KFA. So in terms of the financial performance, what's the only area where they're performing well? Which is the only area they're performing well in terms of the financial performance? Revenue. Otherwise than that, the earning before interest and tax and depreciation and amortization is going down. The relevant earnings are going down. So a lot of concern factors, right? A lot of financial risk developing around this club. Seriously, they need an IPO. They need the funds to come in. I believe a listing of this club will bring a lot of funds to you. And those lot of funds can be utilized to boost the future of this club. You can construct a new stadium. You can improve your sponsorships by bringing a lead sponsor. You can bring about naming rights. You can improve your merchandising on online sellings. A lot of things can be done by this club, right? To get income back on. I hope you all agree with that. Yes, debt finance could be a preferable option, but it depends upon the day of exam, Sufyan, what sort of exhibit is given to us. It could be that on a day of exam, we are informed that their gearing is already very high, or they're a very highly geared club. Then what will happen? So we need to wait for specific exhibits, right? Yes, it seems like a potential breach of FFPR in the next 2 to 3 years if this downtrend continues, T. Okay, so I hope you have got the summary of the debrief 1 and debrief 2. We got a lot of thinking points today. I given you some extra research on the footprint, environmental footprint of a club, of a football stadium, sorry. And I hope you will largely benefit from this extra research around the football stadium. Just one last thing before I leave you out from this session today. I'm just writing it on the next page. Which is some sort of a boosting income prospects for 80. Number 1, lead sponsor. That could be one way. Next, naming rights could be second. Number 3rd, offering more merchandise for online selling. Currently, they're only offering the replica kit, so offering more merchandise for online sellings and in shops. So they can increase sales from souvenirs, something like that. Building a new stadium with more capacity, so you can get more ticket sales, more capacity for more ticket sales. Match day income, because match day income is their second highest source of income. So they can think about these areas where they need to boost their income prospects for AT. Currently, what we just got through today and yesterday. Yes, they can income or flow of funds prospect, right? In flow of funds, they can also think about an IPO, offering listing that will bring a big flow of funds for them. Okay, that's good. Nias, they can build up their own academy, and from the academy, they can develop players and they can sell players to other clubs. Okay, that's very good. Selling players to other clubs by developing academy. That's good point. By developing academy. Kelly, you can just go on the Google, type the role of a team manager for a football club, and you'll get to know that very easily. Definitely, the role of a team manager is the leadership role. He is with the team. He motivates the team. He guides the team. He backups the team. He is the one who just ensure that they are right. They are in the right spirits to win a match. So this is some sort of a discussion you can think about, and some sort of a discussion I have on my presentation as well. Right here, we had some discussion today about information about Athletic Trans Central Football Club, and this is my final thought process. Key thought points. Proposal to list. I hope that could be potential, a specific exhibit where they're thinking about listing this club, because listing can bring a lot of good opportunities for this club. They might be looking for potential investment, and one way of a potential investment is to list the club and bring the money in. Business case for a new stadium, because a lot of information was given about the new, a lot of information was given about the existing stadium and the problems with existing stadium. So that means something around business case for a new stadium, or suitability, acceptability, and feasibility of a new stadium. SAF model, application of the SAF model could seems very potential here, right? Just give me 1 second. The SAF model, proposal to list, pros and cons. What are pros and cons of proposal to lift? Publishing integrated report. What can be the benefits of publishing an integrated report for AT? Evaluation of the financial performance versus KPIs. Some of the KPIs came in discussion today, like revenue, like EBITDA, but there could be a broader case where you need to analyze the financial performance of the club versus the KPIs. That has been a typical question in past papers as well. Sources to boost income for the club. We just discussed that. From which sources you can boost the income for the club, because they're relevant earning is going down. The relevant earning is going down, and that is a big concern for them. They don't want to breach that FFPR. So these are some thought process. Hitashki, this is not a session to spot the questions, because ACCA strongly denies spotting questions from pre-seen. The purpose of pre-seen is to provide context. I hope all of you have got some context from day 1 and day 2. Have you got some understanding and absorption of the pre-seen? Are you absorbing the terms and the terminologies? Do you have an idea about different things going in the case study, about the problems, weaknesses, and challenges? Are they coming on your fingertips? Because that's what you need to know for Tuesday, right? I did mention that yesterday. The purpose of pre-seen is to provide context. Has the context been built up? Please answer me. Has the context been built up? Do you remember the facts? Do you remember the figures? Do you remember what is going right and wrong with the club? So when you're writing the answer on the day of exam, can you recall something spontaneously from stadiums, from commercial activities? Can you recall spontaneously something from financial performance? Can you recall something spontaneously from their history? Can you recall something spontaneously from the teams? That is what is needed at the end of the day, right? But the answer will come from case-specific exhibits. So spotting the question is useless. Yes, the new article is important. Please read through it. Brush over the new article. Try to see if you are confused with what is the role of a team manager, just go on the Google search, what is the role of a team manager for a football club. You can do such sort of activities, right? So I hope you're fine. I will be sharing my summary of the day 2 with you. I hope you will take a printout of that and you will just scroll over it. Was the summary on the day 1 effective? Did you took a print out of that, and are you utilizing it, or are you going with your own summaries? How many of you are going with your own summaries, and how many of you are using my summary from yesterday? Okay, my summary has the benefit, at least you can relate it with the session. You can ask something to me. Okay, some are saying mixture, some are saying I'm using yours. That's good. Okay, just need to make one correction in my summary yesterday. I read 80 do have this academy setup training facilities. So we had just to mention 80 does not have the academy, right? That is the point I need to make. 80 does not have an academy. So that's the correction for the Word file yesterday. Dell sees they can enter into a strategic alliance with a lead sponsor, right? A lot of companies sign up with sponsors for 5 years, for 6 years. They do a strategic alliance. We have so many leagues, football leagues and cricket leagues being played globally. They try to bring strategic partners, strategic alliance with partnerships. We know that, for example, in Pakistan, we have this PSL, the Pakistan Super League. They have HPL, which is the bank in Pakistan, and they have a strategic alliance with them. They're almost playing the 9th edition of PSL, and HPL is still their lead sponsor. So see how long this strategic relationship is they have with HPL. So having a lead sponsor who is there with you, who is there to advertise for you, market for you, and bring more audience for you. Yes, definitely, that's fine, Disponia. You're perfectly right. They can get BMW as a lead sponsor, and they can have a stadium name BMW 80. Perfectly fine. That's what naming right means, right? So you're very right, Disponia, in your concept. Like Etihad Stadium, perfectly right, Archana. So is everyone found sound now? So naming rights and strategic alliances can really be beneficial for this club, right? So I wish you all the very best of luck and success for your upcoming exams on Tuesday. I hope you give 1 hour a day to pre-seen over the next 5-6 days, not more than that. You're just revising pre-seen as the last thing of the day. Please ensure you practice recent papers. Please ensure you read the articles, particularly the Growing in Partnership and the article I did mention yesterday to read in. These are the 11 articles, right? Please ensure you look into the thought process, which I've developed yesterday and today, and ensure you do your best on the day of exam. The more you connect your exhibits to the answer, you will pass. Don't just forcefully link pre-seen with your answer. I hope you remember the issues with pre-seen yesterday, everyone. Use of pre-seen by the stronger and the weaker student. I hope you read these pre-seen issues very well yesterday, because these are extremely important. I don't want to see my student making the same mistake on Tuesday. I will still be available on WhatsApp, right? I am available on WhatsApp till Monday. but expect some delays because there are loads of messages. The messages load have increased, right? Many folds. And I will be replying to all the assignments by Friday. So Friday would be the last day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, no assignments, and Tuesday you have your exams. All the backlog of assignments will be cleared by Friday. Wish you all the very best of luck, and thank you very much for coming in to the live session. Stay happy, study effectively, and I hope I get a good feedback from you on the day of exam too. Yes, please not to panic. Relax yourself because you can spoil your preparation if you get into the panic mode in the next 5 days. SPL is such an easy paper, right? It's all the case specific paper, no rote learnings, and model isn't the best answer. So please also look into that, that it's not every time that you forcefully apply a model, you can answer a question without a model as well. Okay, all the best. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.